There is a lot of discussion about feminism out there. Is it bridging the gap between both the genders?
The moment you put an ism, जहाँ जहाँ ये लगे हैं ना उन्हें गड़बड़ी की है.
70 साल में कम से कम we lost 70,000 people to Kashmiri militancy और Kashmiri terrorism.
2010 में स्टोल पेल्टिंग हुई थी. Massive one. I mean, it was the game changer for J&K. You know where the entire communication took place? It was on Facebook. State of our country. Don't even talk about media. Pratik, media ने इतना रायता फैलाया है. I shouldn't say this, but trust me, I was in J&K during 2014-15. That's when the time Vani picked up.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen how the whole a regular newspaper of our country when puts his photo and says that poster boy, the Kashmir rebel, what message you are sending to the youth?
So you turn terrorist into a hero.
Definitely, I sitting in Mumbai will feel, oh my God, poor thing, atrocities are happening.
दोस्तों, आपने बहुत सारे इंडियन आर्मी के पॉडकास्ट देखे होंगे, लेकिन आज का पॉडकास्ट कुछ ज़्यादा स्पेशल है. आज पहली बार शायद किसी पॉडकास्ट पे एक इतनी डेकोरेटेड फीमेल सोल्जर आ रही हैं. मैं बात कर रहा हूँ मेजर नीति CJ. And trust me, she is one of the phenomenal soldiers Indian Army had. Major Nithi CJ is an army veteran. इन्होंने इंडियन मिलिट्री इंटेलिजेंस में काम किया. She has been posted on some of the very critical operations of our Indian defense and our military forces. आज हम बात करेंगे उनके इंडियन आर्मी के एक्सपीरियंसेस के, how life is different for a male and a female soldier, कैसे इन्होंने अपने इतने सारे मिलिट्री ऑपरेशंस को कैरी किया, व्हाट फेमिनिज्म एंड स्ट्रॉन्ग वुमेन स्टैंड फॉर. सो प्लीज़ आप हमारा ये पॉडकास्ट ज़रूर देखिए. और आगे से बढ़ने से पहले मेरी एक छोटी सी रिक्वेस्ट है. हमने देखा है 80% लोग जो हमारा पॉडकास्ट देखते हैं वो देखते हैं, लाइक करते हैं, कमेंट करते हैं, लेकिन वो हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं करते. तो मेरी आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है, प्लीज़ हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और हमारे कंटेंट को एंजॉय कीजिए. और साथ में अगर आपको लगता है कोई ऐसा कंटेंट जिसके बारे में हमें और पॉडकास्ट बनाने चाहिए, सो प्लीज़ हमें ज़रूर कमेंट सेक्शन में लिख के बताइए. तब तक के लिए प्लीज़ गो एंड एंजॉय दिस एक्सक्लूसिव एपिसोड विद मेजर नीति CJ. थैंक यू मेजर नीति, थैंक यू सो मच. इट्स एन ऑनर टू होस्ट यू. आई थिंक मैम, सिंस द टाइम मैंने पॉडकास्ट स्टार्ट किया है, मेरा एक पैशन था कि मैं खुद तो फ़ौज में जा नहीं पाया, सो आई कुड ब्रिंग ऑल द फौजीज़ आउट देयर एंड अंडरस्टैंड उनका एक्सपीरियंस क्या है. आर्मी, एयरफोर्स, नेवी, ऑल थ्री आर वेरी इंटीग्रल पार्ट ऑफ दिस नेशनल सिक्योरिटी एंड वॉट वी आर, वेयर वी आर. एंड टुडे द बेस्ट पार्ट इज़ होस्टिंग अ फीमेल वेटरन इज़ एन ऑनर, बिकॉज मैंने बहुत सारे फीमेल वेटरन्स का इंटरव्यू देखा नहीं. And with the kind of experience that you have in military intelligence, I hope we could bring a lot onto table. So thank you so much for giving us this time and letting me host you on our third episode of this podcast.
Pleasure is equally mine, Pratik, and I must say I've watched your previous podcasts and it is phenomenal and keep doing the good job.
Thank you so much. तो मैम क्विकली स्टार्ट करते हैं. I do know you are a second generation officer. Your father was in army.
Yeah.
So how did this entire transition happen? Transition नहीं कहूँगा, कि कैसे लगा यार कि मैं अब फौज ज्वाइन करूँगी. It's probably time for me. Probably this is the right career call for me. So how did that happen?
For me, Pratik, it happened at a very young age. I for sure knew that I have to get into something, into a more uniformed force. That was very clear for me. I'm talking like a 5th standard kid. और I still remember एक दिन ऐसे ही बालकनी में धूप सेक रहे थे, विंटर का समय था, and mom walked in and I said, Mom, I looked at the sky and I said, Mom, I want to fly.
Oh wow.
And but वही है ना, फिर जब धीरे धीरे you progress in life, जब reality hits you, तब समझ में आया कि भाई मैथ्स अपने बस की बात नहीं.
फिर उसके बाद
So 11th 12th, by the time I reached 10th 11th 12th, I was pretty sure, okay, चलो ठीक है, let me see if I can do it in the medical corps and the dental corps. Like these are the two options. उस समय पे direct there was something called as WSES, Women's Special Entry Scheme.
Okay.
It started somewhere in 92 के आसपास वो शुरू हुआ था. So that is direct SSB.
Okay.
And that doesn't come very easy.
Okay.
It has very high merits. आपके graduation में इतने high percentile होने चाहिए that you are even able to make it to the SSB. Forget about clearing the SSB.
हाँ.
So अब अपना तो हिसाब अपने को पता था
कि मैथ्स
हम
तो
पढ़ाई में कितने अच्छे हैं, ठीक है. And 11th 12th पे ऐसे ही गए हम. I was a okayish फर्स्ट डिविजनल. मुझे आई हैव ऑलवेज बीन अ स्टूडेंट कि मुझे जो पसंद है मैं उसको बहुत डेप्थ के साथ पढ़ती हूँ, और जो मुझे नहीं पसंद है somehow I cannot do it for the sake of it.
करेक्ट.
It has always been like that. To the extent कि मेरी टीचर ने बोल दिया कि भाई ये पास हो जाए ना तो बहुत बड़ी बात है. But I would say somewhere, you know, the universe has a plan for you.
True.
When I went into my second year of graduation, that's when they announced the Combined Defense Services examination for the women officer. Rather final year, if I'm not wrong.
This was in which year?
I'm talking of 2007.
Okay.
That's when they announced that CDS entry is going to open up for women, and I was like, बस यही चाहिए था. So somehow the medical line also didn't appease me much. उसमें हम जा नहीं पाए, तो I was into graduation in microbiology, and I gave my first CDS in 2008 Feb. What I recall of, and no 2007 Feb.
Okay.
And हम तो ऐसे ही पहुंच गए CDS एग्जाम देने. हम only thing I knew was कि न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना है. फौज में जाना है तो you should be well versed with the current affairs. That's all I knew. Although my father was also in the army, he was like not very keen कि यार why you want to get into the same रगड़ा, क्यों करना है यार, जिंदगी कुछ करो, research type ना.
Correct.
I was like, Dad, I don't think so. In fact, he was surprised. First year of college में I filled for NCC.
National Cadet Corps.
हाँ.
Okay.
And he was like, why are you joining this? I said, Dad, let me see. If I have the metal, at least पता तो चले अपने को. How will you gauge yourself? Now, being a single kid ना, आपके पास बहुत टाइम होता है ये सब analysis करना और figure out करने के लिए. And he was mostly posted in the valley. तो क्या करें? तो यही चीज़ चल रही थी. So when I gave my first exam, I cleared. I didn't tell him. I told him only when I got the SSB call letter. And I said, Dad, my first SSB is going to happen in 11 SSB Allahabad. He was like, अच्छा ठीक है. He thought कि probably Dad को ना तब भी लग रहा था कि ये इसका बस जोश है अभी का ना.
Maybe she might not go for it.
Yeah. It's that initial josh which probably most of the Fauji kids have. जब गए clear नहीं हुआ. Second time I went, again it was Allahabad SSB, and I fell down in the obstacle.
Okay.
So कहीं ना कहीं that took a back, means मुझे वो थोड़ा सा एक back seat हो गया था. Once I came back and my mom asked me कि अच्छा what next? I had already got 2 job offers in my hand.
Okay.
IBM, and I'm talking of 2008. अब हम 8 में आ गए.
तब आपका I think graduation खत्म हो गया.
I enrolled for masters because then my dad was like, no, you are not going to waste even an year. You have to do your post graduation. Post graduation.
अच्छा हाँ.
Graduation
खत्म हो गया. Correct.
हाँ. So then I said, okay, but we will have a deal. He said, okay, what is the deal? I said, I'll do post graduation as you say, but then the profession I choose has to be of my choice.
Okay. सही.
So dad was like, चलो ठीक है.
हाँ. So somewhere he had an idea कि करनी तो अपने मन की है.
इसने तो ये नहीं मानने वाली है ऐसे. ठीक है. And I was well backed by my mom. तो इसीलिए अब हम दोनों के सामने बेचारे ना थोड़े से ठंडे पड़ जाते हैं. So when I came after my second SSB and I didn't clear, so mom asked what next? क्योंकि एक IBM का call letter पड़ा हुआ है, एक GE Electricals, and at that time IBM was a
brand that everybody wanted to work for. Yeah.
And उन्होंने मेरे को at least 6 months तक follow किया. मेरे birthday पे कार्ड भेजा, दिवाली पे कार्ड भेजा, बोला हम आपकी तनख्वाह 50,000 कर देंगे. 50,000
in 2008
for a graduate.
Correct. It was a very good money.
Yes, and I got open campus selection. मैं open campus से select हुई हूँ. तो वो तो और भी उनके लिए ना, it was like we cannot leave this person इतना easily. And then I told my mom, I said, Amma, one thing is for sure. I want to serve the nation. That I am very sure. Is it in uniform or is it as an IAS officer? I don't know. I want to be in a decision making role.
Correct.
I don't want to just, कि बस ऐसे ही पैसेंजर बन के जिंदगी गुजार दी.
So at the end national duty करना था.
Absolutely. Have
irrespective
to be
of defense,
irrespective of
administrative services, whatever it is. Okay.
By that time I had reached that. I was also preparing for UPSC. I gave the prelims.
Nice.
Prelims का रिजल्ट जब आया तब तक हम एकेडमी पहुंच चुके थे. तो हमने कहा यार अब तो घुटने घिस गए हैं,
हाँ.
अब इसके
तो
बाद
आप
तो
भी
पढ़ाई.
उनमें से हो जिन्होंने एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विस छोड़ के डिफेंस को चूज किया.
Absolutely,
Correct.
no doubt.
Wow,
Because
brilliant.
definitely, I have seen the life as a kid. I know how this organization is. At least the foundations of the organization I know is very different from the civil setup. So those things are there. And then something which is so evidently in your hand, आप उसको छोड़ के something which is not there, maybe, पता नहीं, वो बहुत ज़्यादा ambiguity हो गया था मेरे लिए. Then third SSB happened in Bhopal.
हाँ.
And I was like, अब देखी जाएगी, आर या पार, हो गए तो हो गए, नहीं हुए तो देखी जाएगी. And I was sure this is my last SSB. I'm not going to go for any further. I went, I cleared.
Brilliant.
And it was such a smooth walk. Although again in that SSB, in the first obstacle I got injured. But I stood up and I don't know what energy came into me. I stood, I went through all the obstacles.
So maybe the world was testing your passion for the forces, correct?
Exactly. And there was this constant energy in me which was like, नहीं यार, हो जाएगा, करो तुम, enjoy this. And I actually enjoyed that SSB. Trust me. And we were just, out of 50, we were just 6 girls who finally got recommended. And out of that 6, now again, luck जो बोलते हैं, luck तभी आता है जब आपने उतना dedication and involvement दिखाया है. The merit list was of 55 candidates recommended all over India, out of which the vacancies were only 15.
Okay.
And I was 10th in the merit.
Oh wow. So you were the chosen one.
I was like, ये 15 सीटें हैं, इसमें एक तो मेरी पक्की है. This was that manifestation I did.
A typical Shahrukh Khan wala.
Typical. And trust me, it might sound very absurd, but these things do work. आप उसमें अपना time, energy, you're putting yourself into it. That dedication has to come from that root bottom. And why I'm saying, because whenever aspirants watch this, they should understand this aspect of, what takes to become an officer is not just 15 qualities.
Correct.
But how well you have incorporated it in your life and how well you are dedicated to it.
Brilliant.
So this has been my journey, and 2009 I joined the academy. 2010 March I got commissioned into the IntCorp.
And so your direct commission was into the military intelligence.
And from day one of my academy, whenever my company commander asked who all wants to join IntCorp, मैं और मेरी friend, हम दोनों के हाथ हमेशा खड़े रहे, and we both ended up joining.
Very nice.
Only 2 vacancies, and वो 2 vacancies में भी हम दोनों को मिला.
Brilliant. तो मतलब, so it was, वो destiny में था, but you had to just manifest it from the very first day.
Absolutely. Destiny में बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं, पर आपने कितनी मेहनत की?
Correct.
There is free will. There is free will also. Destiny है तो free will भी है.
बिल्कुल. Absolutely. तो मैम अब ना, since अब तो ये तो था till the time you got commissioned. अब commissioned होने के बाद 2 चीजें थी. एक था, क्योंकि मैं ना कुछ facts पढ़ रहा था, and that's where I learned कि अगर मैं जेंडर रेशो की बात करूँ, आई थिंक ये 2018 तक का था, एयरफोर्स हैज़ अबाउट 14% फीमेल ऑफिसर्स, नेवी हैज़ अबाउट 6-7%, एंड आर्मी हैज़ 4%. सो अगेन आई नो सोल्जर इज अ सोल्जर irrespective of caste, community, creed and gender, but how is it, the first question is, how is it different? Is it actually different for women out there in the forces, right? Because majorly आपका top leadership has been men who've been there from past decades serving. Decision making भी जो रहता है उन्हीं के हिसाब से, right? Or it was very normal, very equivalent to, so supposedly if I was to join an army and you were already there, so there is an equal culture, equal facility. I'm sure वो सब होगा, but क्या कुछ different था, क्या कुछ अलग था, क्या कुछ नया था that you never experienced, right? And army training is not just mentally exhausting, it is also physically exhausting.
Absolutely.
Right? So as a woman, right, how easy or difficult was that?
Let's talk about the training part first, because that's where the whole mindset change is happening. That's where the whole, your psyche of a soldier is getting built. Okay, आप में officer like qualities have been tested. That doesn't mean you have already become an officer.
Correct.
Okay, so when you see आप training, आप कोई भी training academy का आप curriculum देख लीजिए, OTA has 11 months. Other academies have 18 months. Like IMA has 18 months and 3 years in ND. Irrespective of the time duration, the training is divided into 3 parts. The first part of the training, initial months, you are trained just to be a soldier.
Okay.
The second part, you will be trained to be like a junior commissioned officer.
Officer, JCO बोलते हैं इसको.
Yes, so you should understand that junior leadership also.
Okay.
And when do you become an officer? Only on the day of your commissioning. So the journey of an officer begins thereafter. That learning of an officer happens there. What happens in academy is how to understand that आप जिनको command करने वाले हो उनके challenges क्या हैं. So first things first is that. Now let's come to the aspect of women in these leadership roles. Okay, women, and when I'm saying the army, the regular army, not the medical corps. The medical corps, I'm sure you must be aware, it's more like a tri-services thing. Correct? So in a regular army, women have been there for almost 3 decades, irrespective of the percentage.
Okay.
So while that phase where I was entering into the army, it was nothing new. Correct? This is your thought process when you are stepping in. But when you step in, you get a very different picture. Physically, yes, it was challenging. I won't deny that. Because we have been brought up in a certain social construct. I have been lucky that my mother, since childhood, has pushed me into a lot of physical activities. So for me to survive injuries, to prevent injuries during the training was much easier because my body has been conditioned, I have been mentally conditioned in a certain way. But with me only, there were many such girls who didn't have that kind of. I know girls who have not even taken a step out of their house. I mean, forget about running and all. Let me talk about myself only. मेरे को एक टाइम था कॉलेज में, tell me to run 100 meters, I used to cry कि यार मेरे को मत भगाओ, चल के क्यों जाना है? Why can't we take the vehicle?
Correct.
You know that convenience. But here, take a guess what would be the means हम सबसे ज़्यादा कितना भागे होंगे? How many kilometers?
25, 50,
45.
45. Correct.
45. Somewhere around 40, 45.
At a go, at a stretch.
At a stretch, that is called an endurance run. We always start with 2.5, that is the 2.4, that is the initial PPT, what we call. Then you have BPT, which happens with all the battle loads. Then you have 10 km, then you have 15 km, then 25, and then last is 35, 40, whatever. Like these, it keeps changing with company, with batch to batch. It is upon.
And ये जो physical parameters थे जिन पे आप लोग test हो रहे थे, they were similar to what the men cadets were tested on.
Okay, let's now talking of that. We know Olympics कितने सालों से हो रहा है?
बिल्कुल.
Are the parameters for the the sportswomen and the sportsmen same? No. No. Right? Same is the case here. It's not same. But that doesn't mean that a sportswoman is not a sportswoman. The same thing applies here. The same thing applies here. And there would have been many sportswomen, who knows, who would have broken records of many
Men also.
Men.
Absolutely.
Now what happens in academy is, आजकल तो training has changed a lot. Now it is all integrated. Now women cadets don't have a different company or a place to stay. Now they all stay together in the same building. So of course things have changed. हमारे time में ये नहीं था. We used to stay, but rest of the training is happening together. अगर हम cross country भी भाग रहे हैं, we are running with the boys. With the gentleman cadets. It's not that कि हमारे लिए कोई specific route है or something has been hidden. They are training with us. They are seeing us getting rogered with them day in and day out. I still remember एक दिन मेरा ही course mate था in the senior term, and he was detailed as the duty sergeant for the night. So our DS was the duty officer. तो इसने फ़ोन करके पूछा होगा मैम कहाँ आना है, तो बोला ओके एलसी के बैरक्स के पीछे आ जाओ. तो he found this a very vague place to actually come for a duty reporting. वहाँ आके उसने देखा, उसने जो साइट देखा, he got scared and he was like अब भैया तुम लोग का तो अलग ही सीन चल रहा है. It was a night चल रहा था हमारा session. The DS was taking a session of us. So we have not been excused on any of these things. If ठीक है, time is one factor. Time is just one small factor, and the difference is not much. It is of course it is much when you say in a battlefield scenario. 2 minutes is a big thing, but at least that action is happening. That's more important, right? So it is challenging for many girls, and it is this whole team, this whole क्यों camaraderie की इतनी बात हो रही है, this whole team will take you through the academy. You have to just have that kind of open mindset. So that open mindset helped me a lot, where you know I give into that circumstance saying कि यार देखी जाएगी. You know, there have been such scenarios. सबसे पहले तो आ जाता है आपका 5-meter jump. Okay, now it is 10-meter, and we thanked God कि हमारा बैच 5 meters में खत्म हो गया. But at that time 5-meter was difficult. अगर हमें 10 बोलते तो क्या हम जंप नहीं करते?
वो तो करते. You're there for it, right?
So that is the question.
So I think आपके extreme irrespective of your gender, I think फौज आपका वो extreme test करती है. They make you hit that threshold. They make you go beyond those levels.
I know of women cadets, my own juniors, who have fared so ahead of gentlemen cadets. Our junior was the first sword of honor in the academy.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. वहाँ जाकर के ना, वहाँ पे ये नहीं है कि गर्ल्स अच्छे हैं कि the boys are better. वहाँ पे everybody is running in their own race.
So at the end you are a soldier
for a common goal.
Correct. Which is the national duty.
So when you have these runs, you know, इस run में आपको अलग अलग किस्म के लोग मिलेंगे. आपको अपने पीछे भी जेंटलमैन कैडेट्स मिलेंगे. हमारे पीछे भी बहुत जेंटलमैन कैडेट्स थे. हमारे आगे भी जेंटलमैन कैडेट्स थे. Okay, but what is more important? To close in as a team. What that teaches you, it doesn't matter आप weak हो, आप strong हो, आप कर रहे हो, आपको करने के लिए आपकी टीम खड़ी है. And that's what matters. You just have to show dedication. That is all needed there.
Oh, this is very interesting. So, मैम मेरे को एक और चीज़ जानना था, right? क्योंकि आपको अगर मैं देखूं, आपका पहला सोर्स ऑफ इंस्पिरेशन वाज ऑलवेज योर फादर, करेक्ट? आई थिंक आप वहाँ से इंस्पायर हुए, यू जॉइंड, यू अप्लाइड फॉर इट. आज की डेट में, राइट, क्योंकि आई एम एन आउटसाइडर, राइट, मेरे पास शायद इसका आई नो ऑफ मैन, आई नो ऑफ गाइज वुड वांट टू aspire for defense services. Probably someday if I have a daughter, I would love that she should join defense services. But having said that, इंडिया में मैंने अभी भी बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स या फैमिलीज़ ऐसी नहीं देखी जो कहते हैं कि यार हाँ, वो ये कह देंगे कि बेटा फ़ौज में जाएगा, बट दे वुड नेवर से कि हाँ यार मेरी बेटी बड़ी होगी ना, वो शायद वो ये भी कहते कि एयरफोर्स ऑफिसर बन जाएगी या 1 मिनट के लिए नेवी ऑफिसर बन जाएगी. बट नोबडी वुड से कि हाँ यार आई वांट माय डॉटर टू बिकम एन आर्मी ऑफिसर. एग्जैक्टली. एंड आई वांट हर टू गो एट द फ्रंट, फाइट द एनिमी, यू नो, हिट देम हार्ड एंड यू नो प्रोटेक्ट द बॉर्डर्स. तो फ्रॉम समबडी लाइक यू, अगर आज यहाँ बैठ के आपको किसी एक फादर को, मदर को या एक यू नो एक पूरी फैमिली को एक मैसेज देना है फॉर देयर डॉटर जो शायद आज झारखंड में कहीं होगी या बनारस में कहीं हो या प्रॉब्ली पानीपत, करनाल, सोनीपत, यू नो प्रॉब्ली टियर 2, टियर 3 सिटीज़ और एक इंटीरियर गांव में भी हो, व्हाट विल बी योर मैसेज कि व्हाई शुड देयर बी मोर ऑफ daughters joining forces, not just the boys?
Firstly, I would urge, I will request these parents that please give equal opportunities to your girls. That also is a sign of empowering your daughters. It is very important. Let them break that threshold. ठीक है. Secondly, it will definitely, she stepping into the army, she is not just transforming her life, she is transforming the life of her family and her society. She is setting a precedence there. जब मैं now I don't know I have told this to you or not, but I have been in Chhattisgarh. मेरी पैदाइश छत्तीसगढ़ की है, although a Tamilian, but I have been in Chhattisgarh. When I gave my first CDS exam, hands full of girls turned up for the first CDS.
True.
And thereafter you should see the rage.
और उनमें भी आई थिंक जब पहला होगा मेजरली आई थिंक वुड हैव बीन फ्रॉम डिफेंस फैमिलीज.
ये नॉट नेसेसरली, क्योंकि छत्तीसगढ़ में ये कल्चर ही नहीं है. I mean, for a long time, people, when I used to go in my NCC uniform, they used to think कि ये police में है. Okay, so firstly is if she really wants to join the forces, let her explore, let support her with that, channelize her to that. There is ये मत सोचो वो front पे जाएगी क्या होगा. I mean that is a very late stage. Someday we all have to die.
Correct.
There is that death comes complete, foolproof, absolute. उसमें कभी कोई
And
ना
that
वो
day is
कमी नहीं
also,
होती
हाँ,
है,
predestined.
डिस्काउंट नहीं है
Correct,
उसमें.
correct, correct, बिल्कुल.
है ना.
हाँ.
तो let her at least live a life of her choice. Why जो एक अपॉर्चुनिटी आपके पास आ रही है टू बेटर योर सोसाइटी, क्योंकि यू नो देयर इज अ वेरी फेमस सेइंग यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड, आप एक लड़के को आप एजुकेट करते हो, यू आर एजुकेटिंग एन इंडिविजुअल, बट इफ यू एजुकेट अ गर्ल यू आर एजुकेटिंग अ सोसाइटी. Let your daughter be that transition and say that with lot of pride. Why are you stopping her growth for I would call it a conditional reasons? You know, so this is my urge to all of them. Army is a very fine organization, very professional in their approach, and trust me, much safer than the organizations outside. The only threat there is probably the external enemy as a threat. Rest there is no threat. Here every day you ask girls working in the corporate, every day they are walking with so much of fear, so much of uncertainty. यार कब job चली जाएगी, कब कुछ चला जाएगा, who will come and harass me.
कोई पेपर स्प्रे लेके घूम रहा है तो
कोई कुछ लेके घूम रहा है. There is always a constant fear from your own subordinates, your own colleagues, on your environment. And here is an organization where no man can even think of messing. And the moment he thinks of messing or even tries that, the organization takes good care of them legally. And I have seen these things happening in front of me. That's why I'm talking.
I think they say कि in fact सोल्जर्स, जो मैंने बहुत सारे वेटरन्स की वाइफ्स के इंटरव्यू सुने हैं, वो कहते हैं कि आवर हस्बैंड्स टोल्ड अस दैट कल को हम वापस आए ना आए, कोई आए ना आए, कोई फैमिली आए ना आए, कोई दोस्त आए ना आए, इट्स ऑलवेज दिस आर्मी who will take good care of you.
Takes care.
Yeah.
Unless you create a conducive social construct as an organization, आप लोगों को नहीं motivated रख सकते हो कि they can go and fight a war. How do you keep them motivated? This is a very important reason. Social security, education,
True.
आपके medical facilities for your family, taking care of your family. जब तक आप ये सब चीज taken care of होगे,
तो आप how do you expect somebody to lay down his
yes,
life?
yes.
I know लोग इन चीज़ों के लिए नहीं आते, right? It's also they have that passion for country,
yes,
national duty.
but on a daily basis, आप कितना passion से चलोगे?
True. At the end,
Back of the mind, you will be worried. Oh my God, my wife is pregnant. She's expecting in the next hour, and I am sitting here at 18,000 feet. Unless there is a good military hospital, there is a good doctor to take care of her, I won't be able to sit here. That is the thing. So they have to get over these apprehensions. This is very important.
तो मैम ये तो I think from a army point of view हो गया, right? Your experience, how your entire training was done, right? And since you helped me understand how it's equally as tough and as challenging for women, और जो आपने ये भी कहा कि पेरेंट्स को कैसे बचपन से they need to start treating both daughter and sons equally, right? और दोनों को इतना ही अहमियत बताना चाहिए, देना चाहिए. Now comes, और आजकल ना मैम एक
I would like to interrupt here, Pratik. This concept of equality. That equality doesn't have to be like I dress up my daughter like a guy or make him look like a guy, walk like a guy. No. Neither does army encourage that. What you see us in academy with short hair and doing the training in a certain uniform is to bring a uniformity. क्योंकि army uniformity पे ही चलती है. And not only that, hygienically also it is better. If we are worried about our hair opening, it is such a distraction.
True.
Okay.
I think same is the case for men. You got to cut your hair short from the very first day.
Absolutely. So equality doesn't have to come in appearance. Equality has to come in the terms of opportunities.
And also the mindset.
Opportunities आप provide करोगे, mindset बदलेगा. What is mindset? It is a series of experiences in our life that make minds.
Interesting.
आप जैसे जैसे opportunity देते जाओगे अपने बच्चे को, nurture the girl child in that way, you will see her mindset is changing and your mindset is changing because of all the learning that is coming from her.
Very interesting. I think it's a very, very relevant point. तो मैम एक ना, since you said about opportunities, equality, the mindset, so there is a lot of discussion about feminism out there, right? And you as a soldier, कौन इससे ज़्यादा better बता पाएगा? क्या है आपके हिसाब से, you know, because is it bridging the gap between both the genders, right? मैं आज भी when I talk to people, everybody has a very different idea about feminism, and मुझे लगा ये बहुत important है आपसे जानूं, क्योंकि आपने शायद वो रोल्स किए हैं जो कई मेल फौजी भी नहीं करते होंगे आर्मी में, right? So how do you look at the entire idea of feminism?
I don't believe in isms.
Okay.
I you know, these ISM ne na, they have created trouble everywhere.
Okay.
You know, the moment you put an ism is a very Western concept, है ना? और जहाँ जहाँ ये लगे हैं ना, इन्होंने गड़बड़ी की है. Anyways, for me, if you ask, feminism, I'm not very fond of this word. I feel a woman, if she is safe in a society, in the sense, if a society में, एक society में truest way में अगर feminism implement हो गया, then we won't be talking about it. If we are still talking, that means it has not been implemented. Things have not been normalized. It is to normalize our role in the society, in whichever profession we choose, in personal lives, even in social lives. ये roles को normalize करो. लड़की कर रही है तो oh my God, ये वाला चीज़ बंद होना है. This will end only when you normalize these things. It's okay a girl to join the forces. It's perfectly fine. A guy is joining, it's the same way a girl is joining. I remember in one of the universities, I had to deliver a talk on this very thing. And the equality part, I said, I'll be very happy that someday, you know, when they talk of Major Nithi from the army, people don't look up with awe.
You have you faced that? Oh wow, आप एक female
Yes,
हो. Okay.
it's always you go everywhere. Oh my God, and many times in the same organization also. Oh, you know, there was a time, क्योंकि जब हम गए थे तो लोगों को एक तो पता नहीं है मिलिट्री इंटेलिजेंस के बारे में, ऊपर से उसमें विमेन ऑफिसर्स हैं ये तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं पता. आई स्टिल रिमेंबर देयर समथिंग कॉल्ड एज अ लिस्ट ऑफ ऑफिसर्स जो हमारे बुक में आता है. यू नो, वी हैव दिस कोर बुक एंड उसमें प्रिंटेड. When I got commissioned, my number was somewhere in the 60s or 70s.
Okay.
Only that many women officers have been in INTCOR so far. That I'm talking of 2010. ठीक है. So हमारे कोर में ये हो जाता था, you know, हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में ये हो
मतलब
जाता
on an average आज़ादी के तब तक 60 साल हुए होंगे, तो on an average one officer in year.
मान के चलो.
And
fair calculation.
Fair calculation.
हाँ. So ये जो चीज़ है ना कि oh my God, why are you getting surprised? Don't get surprised. You know, that surprise actually makes me feel embarrassed. यार पता नहीं क्या ही कर दिया है हमने, है ना? And let's not exaggerate thing. हम बहुत exaggerate कर देते हैं. It's perfectly fine for women to take unconventional job roles, just as it is for a male. When male can get into, nobody is saying when they are getting into dance, they are getting into films, they are getting into fine arts, उनको तो कोई नहीं बोल रहा. हम अगर थोड़ा सा unconventional field में चले गए तो everybody is turning their eyeballs at us कि in a positive way as a negative way. When all this extra exaggerated attention जिस दिन ये हम खत्म कर देंगे ना, they are, see, women are not attention deficit, they are full of themselves. उनको कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है दुनिया से कुछ. This even women have to understand. Don't look for validation from some third one. They are living a different life, you are living a different
Very
life.
different life.
है ना? किसी को prove करने के लिए, again this is another problem with feminism. To prove something to some random third person, you want to join the forces. Why? And then make a mess out of yourself there? बिकॉज जब आपने तो ये देख के, आप तो पोस्टर में वो देख के आ गए कि दे आर क्लाइंबिंग माउंटेन्स, women are climbing mountain, and when you come into the organization you see you are probably detailed for organizing a tea party. And then you feel derogatory. No, it is not derogatory. We are a social structure, we are a way of life. If you have to at one point of time be in a combat role, you also have to take care of social engagements. That brings the harmony between us. That is where the bond is happening. आप अगर अपने बंदों के साथ जितना ज़रूरी अपने ट्रूप्स के साथ दौड़ना ज़रूरी है, उतना ज़रूरी उनके साथ बैठ के खाना खाना
भी ज़रूरी है.
where will you learn that? And this somehow I've seen this distancing is there in women also, that apprehension थोड़ा सा है. क्योंकि इतना वो spotlight मार देते हैं ना कि उससे they on themselves start feeling that ways. So there has to be an equal balance when you are dealing. अच्छा, now my question is, how much of this attention is going to actually people who are suffering from social irregularities और जेंडर इनइक्वालिटीज़? कहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा आप देख लो, जितने भी सोशल इनजस्टिसेस हैं विमेन के अगेंस्ट, वो सबसे ज़्यादा कहाँ हो रहे हैं? इन आर रूरल एरियाज.
True.
Why aren't our eyes turning there? Sitting here and talking that self-love, self-care is very nice. What about them? They have dedicated their lives to the entire patriarchy thing. You don't even come to know who's getting raped, who's getting molested, who's getting killed, female feticide.
That's a big problem.
मीन्स वो बच्चा पैदा भी नहीं हुआ है, उससे पहले वो बच्ची मर गई है. She has been killed. Who's talking of those things? Who's working on those things? Talking, everybody is talking. It is a matter of convenience. But how much are we looking into? So women empowerment, okay, ठीक है, women have made it into the armed forces. Very good. It was a need of the hour. But इतना भी हम उस चीज़ को ना करें कि यार 50% should be women. I mean, इतना, look at our social structure. ठीक है, and vacancies in the army and all are planned in a very different way. Let's not even get into what is the rationale behind that. हम सोचते हैं हमें क्या दिखता है, वो इमिडिएटली ज्वाइन करने वाली एक सीट. बट वो एक सीट में जब आप एक ऑफिसर को डालते हो, वो ऑफिसर 10 साल कमांड करना है या 20 साल कमांड करना है. Today, women officers have taken commanding roles. The army is still going through a transition. So let's not force feminism in every bit and make complicate these things.
Correct. So feminism, I understand, it's about आप और हम अलग हैं, right? हाँ, आप.
But we can dress.
Yes. So it's about. It's about.
I don't have to dress like you, Pratik, to prove a point.
Correct.
That I can dress like you. No, not required. I don't see a guy. Why don't guys have that kind of insecurity? Because it's not there. That insecurity is not there. That has to come in girls also. Let's stop comparing.
So I think this has to somewhere start घर से, right? कि
Yes.
I think इंडिया में एक ये माइंडसेट है, और ये हो जैसे मैंने आपको कहा कि बेटा फौज में जाएगा, बट बेटी में भी प्रॉब्ली शील डू अ ग्रेजुएशन, और बेटे को चलो इंजीनियर बना देते हैं, बेटी को ह्यूमैनिटीज़ पढ़ा देते हैं, क्योंकि इसने तो टीचर ही बनना है, इसको तो इंजीनियर बनाएंगे या इसको तो MBA कराएंगे. शी हैज़ टू. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि ये मॉडर्न सोसाइटी में एग्जिस्ट करता है, बिकॉज इंडिया के दो रूप हैं, वन इज इंडिया, अदर इज भारत. बट आज भी मे बी इन फ्यू होम्स आउट देयर इन इंडिया, बट व्हेन यू गो टू द एंटायर भारत पार्ट, दिस माइंडसेट स्टिल एग्जिस्ट. और आई थिंक वो थॉट करेक्शन घरों से आना शुरू है. बहुत 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 नेसेसरी है. I think very, very valid
and
point.
I think so that also has been kind of taken care, because now we have girls joining the Sainik school and military schools. So definitely there is a mindset change happening. I will not deny that. But एक बाहर जो society, still there is a large part of society which is not addressing this. I'm also saying कि यार वो उसको, just because she is good at something, don't force her to push go into something. Let it be her own decision, whatever it is. उसको अपने life की choices करने दो. I still remember I was in my 12th standard and I told my parents one thing very clear. two choices in my life, I will request, I will make of my own. तब मत डांटना आप मुझे. एक है my career and एक है who will be my life partner. Trust me, these two decisions, the day women start making on their own, we are empowered.
Point, absolutely. I think it's both the ways. मुझे लगता है दोनों genders में ये equally important है
Yes.
कि मुझे कब settle होना है, किसके साथ settle होना है, that's one, and obviously मुझे career क्या choose करना है. Moving on, ma'am. अब I think I'll get to one of my most interesting parts, which is you being into military intelligence,
Yeah.
right? तो सबसे पहले तो बहुत लोगों को लगता है कि फौज का काम क्या है, एयरफोर्स हो गया, who fights in the air or who fights from the air, navy है, probably they've got their submarines, they've got their INS ships, you know, जिस पे वो जाके they protect our borders in the water, and then there is army जो जाके front पे फौज से लड़ती है, right? It is very rare, not just that, मैंने देखा है अब शायद बात होना जैसे RANW हो गया, military intelligence हो गया, there is a lot of intelligence that currently works under home ministry also, उसके बारे में बहुत कम बात होता है. तो in a maybe थोड़ा brief में जितना you are allowed to say, because I know you serve nation, you'll have your own responsibility. What exactly is military intelligence? Military intelligence करती क्या है? How do you operate?
There are two words, military and intelligence.
True.
Okay. Now let's talk about our country's setup, how things are. There is RNW, there is Defense Intelligence Agency, there is National Investigative Agency,
Correct.
there is Intelligence Bureau, and then you have military intelligence. Okay, now one would ask, यार इतना सारा क्यों
काफी ज़्यादा,
आपने
हाँ,
like why?
Hmm.
Because it is a very specialized organization. You have to pick people for specific task and specific role to ensure you are giving timely information in the utmost accuracy possible to the decision making authorities.
And when you talk about decision making authorities, it's the people who are front. So just to take an example, कि आज अगर कश्मीर
It's both ways.
both ways.
It's
Okay.
both ways. Now comes the word information and intelligence. Information is any and everything I get from the world. You know,
sources.
from my sources. Now, when I say sources, my newspaper can be a source, the TV can be a source, the internet can be a source,
Okay.
a human being can be a source with whom probably I had an interaction. If I had hired some agents, those agents be a everything can be a source. Now let's talk about what happens thereafter. Now this we call, and you can Google it, there is something called as an intelligence cycle. Now this information, once is acquired, it is put through a process of analysis, of you know, comparing, interpreting it by comparison, you know, firstly collating it, putting it into what is needed, what is not needed. Segregation होता है. ठीक है. अब वो क्योंकि आपके पास कचरा आएगा, उस कचरे में से आपको हीरा निकालना है ना? Like that you are segregating. Then you are doing your analysis. You know, then you are adding that data to your background data, and then you have to send it to disseminate to your authority. Now this entire process, it is only after that a piece of information becomes an intelligence.
Wow. So it's like tons and tons of data.
Yes.
You put it through the funnel of, you know, assessment, investigations,
Yes.
Analytics.
Yeah.
और उसके बाद जो आती है, that's the final intelligence.
Absolutely. Now, what at a higher level, the different resources are human intelligence, open source intelligence, social media intelligence, imagery intelligence, GIS. I mean, you name it, UAV. You know, so there are different sources available. Mostly, what we look into is human based. Mostly. Okay, of course, technology is a well integrated part, but mostly our strength is human intelligence. Okay, military intelligence अब क्या करती है? So everybody has their role. IB is for the government. Again, RNW looking at the outside, more strategic things. They are into research and analysis. And then you have military intelligence. Military intelligence. Generating intelligence for the military. That is what is our job. We have the army. Our job is to generate intelligence for all the tasks, missions, whatever activities the army is taking in hand. उसके लिए जो भी इंटेलिजेंस हमें जनरेट करना है वो हमारा काम है।
So मैम, अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं अगेन, मैं शायद थोड़ा बाउंड्री क्रॉस कर रहा हूँ, बट एंड आई डू स्टॉप मी वेयर यू फील कि नहीं प्रतीक, दिस इज
मैं
नॉट
सीधा बोल दूंगी, डोंट वरी।
so फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ यू कुड गिव अस एन एग्जाम्पल, मे बी कोई भी ऑपरेशन हुआ हो, नॉट द फ्यूचर और प्रॉब्ली इन द पास्ट यू बीन पार्ट ऑफ, बिकॉज आई नो यू बीन पोस्टेड अक्रॉस लोकेशंस, राइट, एंड आप उन टाइम पे पोस्टेड थे जब बहुत बड़े स्ट्रेटेजिक और स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑपरेशंस
यानी
हो
जहाँ
गए,
पे भी कोई गड़बड़ हो रही थी ना,
so you
वहाँ
were
पे
there.
किस्मत ऐसी है कि वहाँ रहे हैं।
So
You know?
people need to thank you for getting that intelligence so that we
No,
were able
no,
to
no.
get
It's
off.
not just me.
हाँ,
It's again
the
a
entire
setup.
correct.
It's a
The
setup.
entire team, right? तो कोई example, maybe that naming the terrorist or not naming the terrorist, that how it happened or you were part of it, कैसे वो intelligence gather किया. Again, it's you are
Okay, I'll highlight. Okay, you want to understand the process, that how it
any
happens.
operation maybe, हाँ,
How it happens. I cannot name operations,
correct.
but I'll try to give a very relatable scenario, which is J&K. Okay. Now आप अगर सुनोगे कि फलाना फलाना terrorist is active in this particular region, okay, there will be information from different, there will be company operating bases of the infantry, वो अपना अलग भेज रहे हैं, उनके अलग सोर्सेज होते हैं, हमारे अलग सोर्सेज होते हैं, all that information is, so we also get that information and our job also sometimes is corroborating it. We corroborate and tell. So like I heard in one of your past interviews, and if you recall, Major Pawan mentions
Yes.
कि higher headquarters से हमें कुछ intel आया,
Information है, correct.
which corroborate. So what happens is our setup directly reports to the higher headquarters.
Okay.
We are directly in touch with Delhi.
Okay.
Nothing less.
Which is the
Yeah. So if it depends on what kind of a setup. We have different setups. We have setups for the course, we have setup for command, and it keeps changing. It is not sacrosanct कि ऐसे ही होगा.
वो situation to
वो
situation vary
situation
करता
to
है.
situation है, वो direction जो भी हमें ऊपर से आता है. We are constantly in touch with the higher headquarters. हम ये information, and why this separate channel? If one would think, यार वो लोग भी इकट्ठा कर रहे हैं तो आप क्यों इकट्ठा? हमें अगर एक फोकस तरीके से हम उसको अप्रोच करेंगे, द possibility of error is reduced. If somebody is in a tactical role, उसको आपने intelligence gathering भी additionally दे दिया, it is too much of load. It is not an easy
Obviously,
process. Now that I've told you that how much the cycle takes,
True.
and the turnaround time has to be very minimum.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is to जो ऑब्जेक्ट जहाँ पे एक्ट करना है, से दिस इज द एरिया वेयर द ऑपरेशन हैज़ टू हैपन, उस पर अगर एक्ट करना है और डिसीजन अगर हमारा से दिल्ली से आना है, उसके बीच का टाइम अगर हम नहीं शॉर्ट करेंगे विथ एनफ इनपुट्स, देन द गेम इज ओवर.
Because there is always somebody smarter sitting somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Who's
And
also-
let's not underestimate our adversaries.
Yeah, we should.
know?
I think we faced them in past. I think we faced some of the.
One of the very famous sayings हमारे trade में ये है, to think of mechanisms to counter the enemy, you have to think like the enemy. तभी आप उसको जीत पाओगे. And that is very important. So you should never underestimate your enemy. You should always think कि यार ये कुछ उल्टा ही करेगा, ये सीधा तो कर ही नहीं सकता. So this is the whole process that goes through, and that is why a separate military intelligence wing is there to take care of it.
Interesting. मैम, मैं ना एक बहुत डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा, क्योंकि आप इंटेलिजेंस का इतना बात कर रहे हो. आई डोंट नो कि आपका कितना, सो दे लॉट ऑफ पीपल से कि फ्रंट पे, बट फ्रंट आल्सो हैज टू हैव अ स्ट्रॉन्ग बैकिंग, राइट?
Yes,
सो आई थिंक यू गाइज
absolutely.
एक्ट एज अ बैक फॉर दैट फ्रंट. बट डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन, कभी किसी टेररिस्ट या मिलिटेंट से डायरेक्ट एनकाउंटर हुआ है? एनकाउंटर एज एन इट मे नॉट बी ऑन द फील्ड, बट यू ट्राइड टू अंडरस्टैंड देयर साइकी. Because I know कि शायद when I was reading about you, I also got to understand you were also part of the interrogation.
Yeah.
Right? तो कभी हुआ है, और क्यों ये 11 साल के, 18 साल के, 19 साल के बुरहान वनी जैसे ये लोग इतनी यंग एज में अपनी फैमिलीज़ को छोड़ के जस्ट इन द नेम ऑफ अ रेडिकल आइडियोलॉजी और प्रॉब्ली समथिंग दे डोंट इवन अंडरस्टैंड, वो मरने को तैयार हैं और दे आर रेडी टू किल. द प्रॉब्लम इज, मैं इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ क्योंकि इन लोगों का मरने का डर नहीं है, राइट? बट जिनको ये मारते हैं, दे आर आर पीपल, दे आर आर सोल्जर्स, दे आर आर सिविलियंस, राइट? तो we losing a resource is something is any given day a loss for the nation. तो क्यों है, या कभी ऐसा कोई एक्सपीरियंस आपका रहा हो?
So I won't say directly with the terrorists, but of course we never, of course we do interrogate terrorists. ये scene भी होते हैं. But how we deal this very differently. We say कि suspects. They are all suspects. Till the time in the court of law they are proved, they are suspects. Now interrogation, this is a very strong word, you know, and mostly you will see we don't use this word. The reason being that it has a very different connotation throughout the globe. उसका एक understanding ही बहुत अलग. It's a very coercive method where you are trying to make people reveal with very coercive method. Now there are only certain authorities who can carry out interrogation. And in our Indian setup, we have something called as joint interrogation committees, जिसमें सारे agencies के लोग, all law enforcement agencies,
RNW, NIA,
everybody, depending on what is the case.
Situation, correct.
Suspects से जब हम interact करते हैं, so when if you talk about, you know, why these people are getting radicalized, है ना, क्यों हो रहा है? 85 onwards things have not been good for us. है ना? Now you see 85 से Burhan Wani 2015. All these years, the society of that area has also gone through a lot of change. And somewhere there is this understanding in the younger generation also कि there is a easy availability of things on both ways. अब वो आपके ऊपर है, आप फौज की तरफ जाना चाहते हो या इस तरफ जाना चाहते हो. Now somehow the attractiveness of this side, the wrong side, is more. I think so. It's typically human.
हाँ, the dark side looks very attractive.
Very attractive. Animal movie सबको अच्छी लगी है. सैम बहादुर में 2 बार सोचेंगे, हाँ यार ठीक, कोई तो था बंदा.
True. बहुत कम लोग गए होंगे. If you see the business,
adrenaline rush. That's where the difference is. When you are in a regular military, when you are in a setup like the military, आप adrenaline rush पे नहीं काम कर रहे हो. आप ट्रेनिंग पे, ड्रिल्स पे एंड प्रोसीजर्स पे काम कर रहे हो. टैक्टिक्स, प्रैक्टिसेस एंड प्रोसीजर्स, TPP बोलते हैं. In case of asymmetric warfare, where they are the guerrilla, they function only and only on these emotions, on this brainwashing. किसी सही चीज को सही बोलने के लिए आपको मेहनत लगती है? बिल्कुल नहीं लगती उतनी. If you have to say
what is right is right.
What is right is right. It's there. But किसी गलत चीज को सही बोलने में, okay, say somebody, you have a group of friends. एक बंदा है जो ड्रिंक नहीं करता. And he has his own reasons. He will say यार मुझे पसंद नहीं है and I don't think it's right. But उसको कन्विंस करने के लिए हमें कितनी मेहनत लग जाएगी? नहीं यार, एक मार ले क्या जाता है? I'm not talking it is right or wrong, but I'm giving an example, relatable. That is what is this entire radicalization. They are trying to justify the wrong, you know, and that is why the whole radicalization is happening, and it is getting easier with each and each generation because इतना generation ने वो सब देख लिया है. The whole valley, I mean, irrespective of whichever role you have been in, either you are the administration or you have been in any of the role, you ask the local populace, it's not been a very happy life. Let's be honest about it. हम वहाँ जब जाते हैं, like I still remember, beautiful place. I mean, Kashmir is so beautiful. It's really heaven on earth.
I've been, yeah.
But you go there is a certain untold suffocation,
negative energy.
अजीब सा आपको लगता है.
कश्मीर जितना सुंदर है, वो ना कहीं उसमें एक बड़ा सुनसान सा एलिमेंट है. I kind of believe in energies, और बहुत लोग शायद मेरे को गलत भी बोल सकते हैं.
But no, I am very intuitive, so I do believe in that.
तो कश्मीर में ना एक अलग सा सुनसान, और कहीं ना कहीं there is a fear that you can sense in the air, no matter आप.
There's an uncertainty.
हाँ. कहीं ना कहीं एक बहुत छोटा सा डर लगता है कि यार अगर मैं डल लेक पे हूँ, what if something goes wrong? Probably मैं मंदिर में हूँ, what if something goes wrong? वो या तो वो सेंटिमेंट मीडिया से बन गया, या इतना सारा हमने
Don't
देख
even
लिया।
talk about media, Pratik. Media ने इतना रायता फैलाया है. I shouldn't say this, but trust me, I was in JNK during 2014-15. That's when the time
बुरहान
Vani
वानी,
picked
हाँ,
up,
या
and I've seen how the whole a regular newspaper of our country, when posts puts his photo and says that poster boy, the Kashmir rebel, what message you are sending to the youth?
so you turn terrorist into a
Definitely,
hero.
definitely, I sitting in Mumbai will feel, oh my God, poor thing, atrocities are happening. 5 लोगों को खड़ा करते हैं when the whole ISIS in JNK Shimozel was created. We were very much there, and you won't believe that 5 लोगों को खड़ा कर दिया कैमरा के सामने. 5 youth, they are standing, and one is holding that so-called झंडा. एंड उसका आपने एस्केलेट करके मॉफ करके आप दिखा रहे हो जैसे कि 100 लोग खड़े हैं. एंड इट्स अ वेरी कॉमन फेनोमेनन. जिस फ्राइडे को अगर कुछ ना होना हम सोचे थे अच्छा आज कुछ नहीं है, कैसे ऐसे क्या हो गया, व्हाई दिस साइलेंस. सो somewhere the media has not behaved responsibly, and that alienation is only distancing the local populace from the place. This fear, ये terrorist ने फिर अपना aim achieve कर लिया है in proving that this is a place where you go, you will be killed.
तो मैम ये तो हो गई बात. सो यहाँ पे एक और चीज़ है. अब मैं बिकॉज यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट रेडिकलाइजेशन एंड आई डू वांट टू डीप डाइव अ बिट मोर इनटू इट. सो अगर आप देखो, एक तो है टेररिस्ट, पता है बुरहान वनी है, पता है XYZ है, पता है लश्कर का कमांडर है, इसको मारना ही मारना है, राइट. एंड प्रॉब्ली soldiers just go and do their hit job. Now there is second set of people, राइट, जो बुरहान वनी के डेथ के बाद उसके पूरे प्रोसेशन में हज़ारों की भीड़ जाती है, राइट. एंड आई विल नॉट कॉल देम टेररिस्ट, बट देन दे आर रेडिकल्स और दे हैव बीन रेडिकलाइज्ड. मेरा आपको क्वेश्चन है, नो मैटर हमने आर्टिकल 370 एब्रोगेट किया, उसके बाद आर्मी थी वहाँ, सब था, अब शायद वहाँ लाल चौक पे तिरंगा भी है क्या. एंड आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट नॉट जस्ट कश्मीर बट ऑल्सो बांग्लादेश बॉर्डर हो गया, बिकॉज वी गॉट नोटोरियस नेबर्स, लेट्स बी ऑनेस्ट. देन देर इज चाइना अप आउट देयर, वो कभी पाकिस्तान के साइड हो जाएगा, कभी उनको सपोर्ट करेगा. what do you see, has radicalization gone up, right? Because there's a lot of immigration also that's happening from our borders. जैसे अगर आप देखो, there is huge amount of immigration that has happened from Bangladesh to West Bengal, और there are lot of schools of thought कि क्या करना चाहिए क्या नहीं करना है. क्या radicalization इंडिया में बढ़ रहा है? I do see it's growing up in UK, US and the Western countries, right? वहाँ पे there are gun crimes, they are killing and everything's happening. But where is India right now? No matter we say we've got a strong government out there, which we have, right? तो करंट स्टेटस क्या है रेडिकलाइजेशन? क्या ये बढ़ रहा है? क्या ये आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल जा रहा है? कैन दिस बी कंट्रोल्ड? सो
इफ यू आस्क मी प्रतीक, radicalization, when we say, it's happening in so many different ways. Okay, हम क्या देख रहे हैं, हम एक पर्टिकुलर रिलीजन को देखते हैं, हम सोच रहे हैं कि ये रेडिकलाइजेशन हो रहा है. बट टेल मी, इफ 5 of us get together, we start speaking on a particular religion and against another religion, and I keep feeding information against them, what am I doing?
रेडिकलाइजेशन ही बढ़ रहा है.
Exactly. Now, unfortunately, displacement or immigration is a crisis. We have to accept. Okay. Now, इस पे government जो भी कर रही है, there was NRC, there was CA, there are so many things which have been done in the past, and we have seen the repercussions of that, how much stringently the whole nation has reacted to all that. Let's keep all that aside. अगर if you ask me, intolerance is the first step of radicalization. Intolerance, ठीक है. हर ना radicalization के बहुत phases आपको दिखेंगे. I won't get into too much technicalities, but जो सोसाइटी में जो एक ये जो हम में एक अर्ज है ना, एक सडन रिस्पॉन्स देने का, एक सडन रिएक्शन टू एवरीथिंग, दिस एसेंट्रिसिटी हैज इंक्रीज्ड. लेट्स एक्सेप्ट दैट. वन, सो इट इज वी आर एट अ पोजिशन कि आज हम इनको ऐसे वो कर दें तो ये ऐसे चले जाएंगे, ऐसे कर दें तो ऐसे चले जाएंगे, है ना. वी से दिस इज राइट, नो, दे विल से दैट इट इज रॉन्ग. That is how the society is going. You see, sectarianism is happening in its own different ways. You know, you see based on genders, based on caste. Suddenly there's a sudden rise in caste and all this thing. Any of these things cannot have happen without a good backing. ठीक है, अब वो डिपेंड करता है कि किसकी बैकिंग स्ट्रांग होती है. सो इंडिया के केस में somehow we would say अभी भी हमारा जो एक नेशनल बैकिंग है, it is quite strong. है ना?
When you say national backing, it is
in the sense the concept of nation.
हाँ, nationalism
is still somewhere ना कि कम से कम 15 अगस्त के दिन हम झंडा लहराते हुए देख लिया तो सर तो उठा के देख लेते हैं.
हाँ.
Though there are people who don't do that. वो भी है. Okay, so ये जो whole thing है ना कि beyond boundaries and all this happening.
World beyond boundaries.
हाँ, ये सब चीज़ें बहुत सुनने में बहुत अच्छे concept है. Now what has happened is all this is now matter of convenience. So everybody is seeing their economics. Everybody is seeing कि what will benefit me politically or economically. These are the only two criteria. What is the third criteria? वो टाइम गया. I still remember one of my first tasks, as a young officer. One of them which I remember is that I had to prepare a questionnaire for a very senior insurgent leader.
Okay.
And when I read his profile, trust me, you will have a lot of respect for that guy.
For that insurgent.
Yeah, because that's the kind of research he has done in his to uplift his state. That is the kind of research he has done to uplift his tribe. That's the kind of work he has done to uplift his organization, his community. क्योंकि आज की तारीख जैसा थोड़ी ना है कि बस हफ्ता वसूली किया या just they are doing extortions or just they are doing exploiting these young boys. No, that wasn't the scenario earlier. Now it is all it's like all that that gush to hold a gun in hand. बस ये इतना ही cosmetics रह गए हैं. Everywhere it is these cosmetics live. So to say at this point, in one angle आपको लगेगा radicalization बढ़ गया है क्योंकि एक certain religion या certain sector के लोगों का migration to this country has increased. But that is just one part. How this population is dealt is the most important part. इनको हम exploit कर रहे हैं या इनको adversaries exploit कर रहे हैं, इनको हम support कर रहे हैं. No, we will not exploit them, we'll support them. We'll try to provide them better opportunities. Let's see what we can do with them. Talk to maybe Bangladesh, बात करते हैं, बैठ के diplomatically solve करते हैं. या फिर Pakistan interferes in that. So these factors will define कि radicalization बढ़ रहा है कि नहीं. So that all will depend on how is the diplomacy between India and Pakistan, how it is with India and China, and that will impact. हम सिर्फ we form our opinion on a certain parameters कि if we see some religious structures coming up, अगर कहीं religious education हो रहा है तो हम सीधे से बोल देते हैं. And the same thing is happening with all religions in India if you see today. आजकल लोग हिंदुत्व भी ऐसे ही बोल देते हैं. आजकल इस्लामोफोबिया भी ऐसे ही बोल देते हैं. आजकल हम इस्लामिक रेडिकलाइजेशन भी ऐसे ही बोल देते हैं. It's very easy to use these words, and sound intellectual, but we have to take lot of parameters into consideration for it. It is not just one individual or one part of the society. It is so much more. So intolerance, if you ask me, definitely it has increased with technology, with social media. Social media is the biggest key.
Fuel.
My entire MPhil research is on social media radicalization in J&K terrorism. And I was really awed at the results that came out कि एक time था जब इन टेररिस्ट के बारे में कुछ भी नहीं होता था on the net. And post बुरहान मारी, and I think so उन्होंने एक तरह से क्या बोलते हैं, although army had an upper hand, Yet they played very smartly with this whole processions of
correct.
these
So
processions.
they made a hero out of Burhan Wani.
Exactly, and this is the reason these processions have been now stopped now. People have challenged internet क्यों रोक रहे हैं, ये सब चीज बाहर से.
सिंस यू जस्ट मेंशन, मेरे को आज एक बात पूछना है. आई हैव लॉट ऑफ फ्रेंड्स जो मुझे बोलते हैं कि यार इंटरनेट बंद कर दिया कश्मीर में, एंड लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स ऐसा भी हो जाता है दैट आई ऑलवेज हैड एन ओपिनियन कि यार फॉर 6 to 7 decades कश्मीर वाज हिट बाय radicalism, it was hit by terrorism.
Yes.
चाहे 47 के बाद से ही we had a war, 48 में जो छोटा हमारा 2 साल तक वॉर ही चलता रहा, देन उसके बाद we had 65, we had 71, एंड अभी जो हालात, और हर फ्राइडे पत्थरबाजी होना, राइट, फॉर, और एक टाइम था आप देखो अक्रॉस JNK, अभी ठीक है मैं ये नहीं कहूँगा सही है, अभी हमारे सोल्जर्स पे राइट नाउ व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग देयर इज ऑलरेडी एन मिलिट्री ऑपरेशन गोइंग ऑन, राइट, हमारे उनके कैंप पे हुआ, बट पहले जिस हिसाब से शहरों में ब्लास्ट होते थे, सब होते थे, दैट इज़ काइंड ऑफ गॉन डाउन. कश्मीर में आप पहले लाल चौक पे जय हिंद भी नहीं बोल सकते थे. सो टू
यू कांट गो टू लाल चौक.
करेक्ट. तो वो इंटरनेट बंद इसलिए किया गया था क्योंकि हमने 70 साल में कम से कम वी लॉस्ट 70,000 पीपल टू कश्मीरी मिलिटेंसी और कश्मीरी टेररिज्म, राइट. तो बहुत लोग बोलते हैं गलत था, ह्यूमन राइट्स के अगेंस्ट था, बट व्हाट इज योर टेक, क्या ये सही था या गलत था, राइट. हाउ डू आई, not I, but how do we help people understand who are working out of corporates, who do have a limited understand because their focus is more of capital, कि यार ये कितना essential था या नहीं था, और इसका क्या impact हुआ है आज.
2010 में एक स्टोन पेल्टिंग हुई थी, द मैसिव वन. आई मीन इट वाज द गेम चेंजर फॉर JNK. पूरा JNK का डायनामिक्स उस एक स्टोन पेल्टिंग के पूरे इंसिडेंट ने चेंज किया है. यू नो वेयर द एंटायर कम्युनिकेशन टुक प्लेस, it was on Facebook.
Oh my God.
They were hired, children, I mean young people were hired. सबको locations वहाँ पे share होते थे, वहाँ पे ये लोग पहुँच जाते थे, and उतनी देर में they will be given money and you do stone pelting. So Facebook played a very vital role at that time, and that's why thereafter if you see, Facebook stringently brought stricter community guidelines after the government approached them कि यार ये नहीं चल सकता. So this was the first reason. It is okay. One aspect, again we are seeing the tip of the iceberg कि हम किसी terrorist incident को होने से बचा रहे हैं. That is one. But also it is the safety and security of the people there. We are preventing these children to get drawn into the hands of these people. वो भी तो एक हमारी moral responsibility है ना कि इन बच्चों को, see they will sway whichever way you take them. 15-year-old boy, you walk into any place, ठीक है, go to a tier 2 or tier 3 city today. 15-year-old boy, you say I am ready, I am going to pay you this much amount.
500 रुपए 700 रुपए.
हाँ, तुम्हें ये करना है. See the whole Jamtara thing. What are we talking of?
Correct.
What is this whole Jamtara thing? And all this gives adrenaline rush again.
हाँ,
है ना. एक एक्साइटमेंट है यार, पत्थर मार के आते हैं. छोटे बच्चे को क्या पता है वो किस पे पत्थर मार रहा है. There was a very funny video during citizenship amendment का जब चल रहा था ना CA में. खैर दैट्स अ डिफरेंट स्टोरी. जब आई वाज इन तेजपुर एट दैट टाइम, एंड वहाँ पे इतना हो हल्ला नहीं हो रहा था जितना पूरे इंडिया में लोग
प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे थे सड़कों पे.
जिन who are affected,
they were not
dealt it more maturely, and whole India was shouting from their cabins. That is a different case. One of this video, it was a very famous video. बिहार में कहीं पे वो लोग सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल के अगेंस्ट, SEA के अगेंस्ट प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं बैठ करके. तो उनसे पूछा कि क्यों बैठे हो भाई. बोले ये इन्होंने हमें पैसे थे. किस लिए बैठे हो. बोले पता नहीं, प्रोटेस्ट हमें बैठने बोला. दिस इज स्टेट ऑफ आवर कंट्री. तो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से, देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग और राइट. It is more about कि आप उस एज ग्रुप के बच्चों को जैसे आप डायरेक्ट करोगे, they will become like that. Okay. तो that was the main reason. क्योंकि होता क्या है, let's take this प्रतीक. मुझे कहीं इंजुरी हो गई. Okay, I got injured in my hand. Okay, I got injured in my hand and say you meet me in person. आप देखोगे आपका तुरंत रिएक्शन क्या होगा. ओके लेट्स गो टू द डॉक्टर. तुरंत बैंडेज, कहानी खत्म. इफ आई पुट अ फोटो टू यू, I'll say प्रतीक मेरी injury हो गई है and I write this with lot of jing bang and I put a photo, what will be your reaction?
एकदम से ओ क्या हो गया,
Shock.
शॉक, करेक्ट.
This is what the adversaries are trying to achieve and this is what we should stop.
Misinformation.
They want to alienate the pan India from this valley and this is why the abrogation has happened. It is not to take what these people deserved. No, that is not the whole science behind this. The important thing is they should not fall into the hands of our adversaries. Okay, and to stop this, ये इंटरनेट स्टॉपेज और ये सब, क्योंकि आप देखो कितना आपने इससे कर्ब कर दिया है.
हाँ, आई थिंक पत्थरबाजी तो इज ऑलमोस्ट
Almost
जीरो ना.
zero now. Almost zero
मैम एक
now.
और बात बताओ, सिंस हम ये बात कर रहे हैं 370 एब्रोगेशन हो गया, एक और गवर्नमेंट ने, क्योंकि ये पत्थर फेंकने के लिए फंड आता था, एंड हाउ ट्रू इज दैट कि हैज डीमोनेटाइजेशन एक्चुअली कट दैट फंडिंग टू इंडिया? क्योंकि देयर वाज अ न्यूज़ कि बहुत सारा टेरर फंडिंग क्रॉस बॉर्डर से आता था पुराना.
Definitely.
So
Hawala has been one of the channels. If you read the reports of enforcement directorates, the Hawala channel has been one of the biggest channel. And if you see, there was a crackdown by the government on the funding of the separatist organizations
PFI,
also.
yeah.
All separatist organizations. The reason behind that was again this. You will be amazed. There is also a crackdown by the government on a list of NGOs. It is again available on the net. Again, the reason was the same, that these were alternate channels used by our adversaries to affect India.
So I think जैसे बाहर Muslim Brotherhood is one of the NGOs that is fueling it. India में PFI was
The
one of
Sikh
the
for Justice and
हाँ,
all
SFJ
have
and
been,
all.
हाँ,
Yeah.
ये तो बहुत कर रहे थे, ये तो पहले से कर रहे थे, you know, they have been fueling, you know, sitting, they are comfortably sitting in Vancouver and doing all this stuff. अब आप देखो बेचारा जो पंजाब में जो है, you see, पंजाब ने जितना bloodshed देखा है ना,
हाँ कि बहुत देखा.
that is unbearable if you see. I mean, कश्मीर ने तो देखा ही, but पंजाब का आप स्टोरी
84 वाला,
सुनो,
हाँ.
you still, if you go to the गुरदासपुर district area, Ajnala and all this area में आप जाओ, आज भी families talk about that and they kind of, you know, go through that remorse, what they have seen. Now, जो वो पूरा हुआ है, इंस्टांस हुआ है, पीपल डोंट वांट दैट अगेन यार. नोबडी वांट्स दैट अगेन. आज की तारीख में आप किसी कश्मीर में जाके किसी नॉर्मल दुकान में आप पूछो कि भैया आपका क्या कहना है ये पूरा जो चल रहा है, he will say I don't have any opinion. I'm looking at what I have to, how much sales I'm getting today. That's all they are worried about. And so is in case of, like, I'll not name the exact event, but there was an event to be happening between one separatist organization in of Punjab with one from Kashmir, and they both had planned कि हम यहाँ करके ऐसे event करेंगे. So it was very funny when we came to know from our local you know, sources कि आप लोग गए क्यों नहीं. बोले they told our, अरे सर क्या आप मजाक कर रहे हो, यहाँ खेती बाड़ी छोड़ के मैं क्यों जाऊँगा जी.
हाँ, कोई फायदा नहीं.
I am losing my that day's wage. Somewhere that understanding is there in both the populations of both the state. Kashmir is a little different gimmick although, क्योंकि कश्मीर में see, let's be honest, war है तो कुछ तो collateral चीजें हुई होंगी. That goes without denying that. You know, let's not deny that. But at the same time, this whole situation is such a trauma for that. I mean, 3 decades they have also seen. I mean, 85, 3 decades से हम ये देख रहे हैं.
हाँ, और कौन चाहता है कि
Nobody wants all this यार. No local man, no आम जनता को ये नहीं चाहिए. They don't want. Same if you see concept of radicalization हम बोल रहे हैं या separatist mentality. All are these people who are bigger fishes. A common man या common किसी से पूछो यार, उसको किसी चीज से लेना देना नहीं. Ultimately all this is game of the economy. ये सब economics है. And what as citizens can do is stop misinformation.
जो अभी नहीं हो रहा. You think so? हो रहा है? Are citizens responsible or they aren't? क्योंकि मैंने
It's a very tricky question to answer as of now, because see, firstly, I am not monitoring it from that perspective or that space. Had I been monitoring, because I am out of the army for 3 years now, then I would have been in a better position to say. But there is always this threat of misinformation. We are always at this threat because the device is such that we
हाँ,
hold.
so I think मैम अगर आप
और AI आ गया है भाई.
AI आ गया plus
Tomorrow they'll morph me and make a video
anything correct. So अगर आप देखो ना, मैंने इंडिया या ग्लोबली आप देखो, people have started to take sides. जैसे just to give an example, feminism, non-feminism, LGBTQ, non-LGBTQ, Islamic radicalization, non-Islamic radicalization, and same is the case with India, right? Or in fact, when people now go to vote, they are not voting for a political party. We have started to vote for individuals, and ये बाहर भी आप देखो same ही हो रहा है, right? Trump आया because Trump was a celebrity out there, right? If you see currently India में the Modi government is very strong, and Modi remains to be the face, while opposition doesn't really have a face right now. So
I would like to point out here. Now, what did you say? Modi government
हाँ.
and the opposition.
हाँ.
It is very important
NDA
for us
versus
to
UK,
understand how leaderships function. Leaderships are always individual. It is that personality. It is very personality oriented. Now, how come? Now you will say कि मैम फिर आर्मी में कैसे चल रही है? वहाँ पे तो it's a very 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 strict leadership structure.
True.
That's where training, that's where having procedures play a role. That's where having very strong laws play a role in the army. Two things are absolutely prohibited for us to discuss in any social gatherings, in even our own messes. One is politics, the other is religion.
Which is good.
हाँ,
because
बात ही नहीं करनी है.
आप फौज में आते
आधी
religion के
चीजें
नाम, you are
खत्म हो
all
गई.
very, which is I think right way, मेरे को लगता है बिल्कुल सही है. एंड तो मेरे को ये लगता है मैम, सब everybody has started to take sides. कोई अगर बोले मैं सेंटर में हूँ ना, there is nobody who's at the center right now. There is somebody who's going right. अगर आप सेंटर में हो, you are hitting somewhere which does not.
We all have our opinions.
Yes.
We all have our, to just be a human, that means you have bias. It's only just that you are probably choosing to focus on more, better things rather than focusing on your biases.
True.
It is just
तो आई
that.
थिंक इंफॉर्मेशन मिसइंफॉर्मेशन
ओपिनियन मेरे भी हैं.
सबके हैं. हाँ.
बैठ जाऊँ मैं भी इंस्टाग्राम पे या सोशल मीडिया पे एंड आई स्टार्ट गिविंग माय ओपिनियंस.
मैम आई थिंक मैं अपनी बात करूँ तो आई हैव लर्नड इट हार्ड वे. देयर वाज अ टाइम व्हेन आई वाज too much on social media, getting into debates, but I think I learned with time कि it does not really make a sense. What you do is you better make an impact.
What are you?
Yeah, you losing your energy, you losing your time. At the end आपको पता है, सबको पता है कि वोट मुझे कहाँ दबाना है, मैं जाके वहीं दूंगा. So it's better you do your job as a responsible citizen. I think country बदलना है तो वोट देना सबसे ज़्यादा essential है, and it's better to stay out of it, right? And probably that's how this podcast happened.
Yeah.
तो ये तो हो गया मैम. एंड नाउ अब मैं ना एक, बिकॉज व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट नेशनल थ्रेट, सो आई थिंक India is one of the most decorated officers, CDS Bipin Rawat sir say, right? He used to talk a lot about 2.5 front war. 2 front तो मैम समझ आते हैं, चाइना हो गया, एक पाकिस्तान हो गया. ये एंड हमने रेडिकलाइजेशन का बात किया. हाउ स्ट्रॉन्ग इज दिस 0.5 फ्रंट? मतलब दिस कुड इंक्लूड द इमिग्रेंट, दिस कुड इंक्लूड द पीपल. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कोई 84 के दंगों में दुखी है, और प्रॉब्ली द स्लीपर सेल्स. आई डोंट नो इफ स्लीपर सेल्स एग्जिस्ट. हमने तो अक्षय कुमार की मूवीज में ही देखा है स्लीपर सेल्स हैं, या फैमिली मैन को हमने देख लिया होगा.
Truth is always stranger than fiction. So there is
So,
always
truth.
a possibility of exist.
हाँ.
And again, I will give a very interesting case which you can refer. It is the case related to ISIS. Twitter पे एक पूरा recruitment चलाया था एक handle ने called Shami Witness.
Okay.
From Bangalore. He was a
Okay.
techo, and this guy.
He was engineer with one of the large
Yeah,
MNCs. Yes.
And उसने पूरा चलाया. ठीक है. अब ना तो वो suppressed है,
Correct.
ना तो वो 84 में कुछ हुआ, ना वो JNK का रहने वाला है. Now you will ask me, मैम इसको कैद पड़ गई है.
हाँ.
है ना? Probably in his case, religion stepped in. So there are different factors for everyone.
और ये थ्रेट कितना बड़ा मैम करंटली कंट्री पे?
It is there. It is
there.
imminent because one has happened. We have many such case studies. It is always there. Humans हैं यार. At the end of the day, we have such a big population. हम इनको jobs नहीं दे पा रहे हैं. Lack of jobs. What will I do? I don't have a job, I don't know I'm getting my next meal, and there is somebody who walks up and says, okay, 10,000, you create a Twitter account. You'll get 10,000 in your account for one post. Not a bad deal.
So I think we need to prepare more efficiently for this 2.0. And I think employment, education, awareness, ये सब तो बहुत essential है. और I think ideology correction पे
moral
morality,
construct,
that's where the morality
that's
comes.
the biggest challenge, because with technology what it also gives is anonymity. Today anybody can stand up and post any shoddy thing on my Instagram profile. इससे किसकी लगी? मेरी लगी है ना. And I'm thinking, oh shit, I am terrorized. What is that? It is terror. This is terror. Terrorism ये है. The future warfare is not going to be fought on battlefields.
No, it's gonna
It
be.
will be on between minds. Economy गिर जाएंगी ऐसे, आपको पता ही नहीं चलेगा यार ये country कैसे गिरा.
कैसे गिर गए. In fact, just the news can probably take it down.
Absolutely. Disruption, warfare of different kinds are possible. Imminent threat. Cyber conflict की जब हम बात करते हैं, the whole idea behind this was कि भाई massive destruction.
मैम आपको लगता है कि साइबर क्राइम या साइबर थ्रेट्स इस लेवल तक पहुंच चुके हैं दैट देयर कुड बी अ डे जिस दिन पूरे कंट्री के, फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स टॉक अबाउट, हमारा स्टॉक एक्सचेंज हो गया, हमारा डिफेंस का पूरा जो इंफ्रा है, कि देयर इज अ थ्रेट कि किसी दिन उसको हैक करके पूरा डाउन कर दिया जाए एंड देन
There is a threat, but we also have good countermeasures for it.
हाउ इज इंडिया डूइंग व्हेन इट कम्स टू बेंचमार्किंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ साइबर सिक्योरिटी?
I think so. We are very well placed.
We are very well
We are
placed.
very well placed. And we have nowadays a lot of indigenous companies coming up, and they are building up really good structures. I don't think so. We are.
And you
any way
think
back.
AI warfare will be the next area to look forward to?
Absolutely.
Because up to I can morph anybody's image. We've got
Absolutely.
deep fakes, we've got voice.
And see, आप एक कंट्री का अगर सोशल कंस्ट्रक्ट को ही आप हिला दो, आपको तो यार वॉर लड़ने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. यू पिक अप अ सेक्टर ऑफ पीपल, एक पर्टिकुलर सेक्शन ऑफ पीपल को आप इस तरीके से हरास कर दो, या इस तरीके से आप उनके दिमाग में फियर को इंड्यूस कर दो. व्हाट इज टेररिज्म? Inducing fear, coercively inducing fear into somebody's mind, and these coercive methods can be anything. And definitely asymmetric warfare में तो कोई rules regulations की बात ही नहीं है.
It's just all about
So the threat is always there, but that doesn't mean that we are not well prepared. You see all these different why are now why is our Prime Minister making so many associations, and why is he making so many diplomatic relations and enhancing it with other countries? Because even countries which are against terrorism knows the only way to deal is कि यार हमारे बीच में intelligence sharing होना है.
Correct.
Because आज की तारीख में आपको अगर एक particular place A in India में attack कराना है, you don't have to be in India.
Yeah, you can get it.
डेविड रिडली को इंडिया आने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. वहाँ बैठ के ही काम हो जाएगा. He doesn't have to do anything.
इंटरेस्टिंग. मैम अब ना मेरा एक और, आई थिंक मैंने पवन सर से भी एक क्वेश्चन पूछा था. हमारा जो सबसे नोटोरियस नेबर है, ठीक है, हु वाज वंस अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर ओन नेशन, वो सुधरेगा? विल बी एवर स्टॉप टू, बिकॉज राइट नाउ व्हाट आई सी इज दैट पाकिस्तान इज इन अ वेरी बैड शेप.
इट इज.
सो पाकिस्तान में देयर इज ओन इंटरनल रिबेल विच इज़ जो आपके लोकल बलूच हैं वो खड़े हो चुके हैं. अफगानिस्तान ऑन अदर हैंड इज़ प्रॉब्ली स्मार्टली पुशिंग, जो उनके पश्तून्स थे विच आर ऑलवेज इग्नोर्ड, या अफगान तालिबान बोलो, विच आर ऑलवेज इग्नोर्ड बाय पाकिस्तान, एंड नाउ दे हैव गॉट दैट माइट, दे आर टेकिंग ऑन पाकिस्तान. एंड स्टिल आज भी पुंछ में एक पूरा ऑपरेशन चल रहा है, राइट? देयर इज आर्मी इन द फॉरेस्ट एरिया, वी लॉस्ट 4 brave men. I think lot of people are saying it could be the 8 also. There are few are injured. Around 8 के around है. तो इस हालत के बावजूद भी if they are able to do that, you think a country like that would ever change? Like, what is your take on our so-called neighbor?
See, it's better to have a known devil than an unknown angel. So at least with Pakistan, I can say that it's a known devil. We kind of know how predictable they are, where they are not predictable. So it's like I mean, that terms are there between both countries. You know, they keep doing some messing around, which is their typical nature. But at the end of the day, it's a known devil, so we should be happy about it. You know,
But collateral damage में we are losing soldiers till date.
yes, and that is sad. That is sad, actually. Not at the cost of our soldiers, of course, but then you know, we sitting here talking, you know, we have a very limited scope to the whole situation. We haven't seen how much blood has already gone into since 47 से अगर हम उठा के देख लें, है ना? So if 47 to now, if we see, there is a whole journey between Indo-Pak diplomacy which has taken place. And with they उनके खुद के situation अभी ऐसे हैं कि, you know, they are finding it difficult to handle, and somehow these proxy wars are a way to for them to, you know, somewhere trying to weaken our economy. It's an attempt only what they are trying to do. That is,
मुझे एक बात हो, हम बोलते हैं हमने 3-4 लड़ाइयाँ लड़ी हैं पाकिस्तान, मुझे लगता है we are always on war with them.
we are always
We're
on.
always
See, that's
on
what
war.
it's a
हाँ.
proxy war.
Yeah, it's a
Whatever
proxy war.
terrorism we
Yeah.
are seeing, it's proxy war. So we are always on war with them. But it's like, you know, it's again like that kind of a brotherhood ना, कि यार लड़ते मरते रहेंगे, but रहना एक दूसरे के बाजू में ही है. We don't have any other choice.
Alternative नहीं है.
Yeah, we cannot shift them to यार पाकिस्तान को
तो मैम
कहीं
एक
और
बात
कर
बताओ,
दे.
पाकिस्तान के साथ कभी कोई अमन की आशा है, और there is no आशा for that अमन?
Let's be hopeful. Someday they get census.
So why I asked you this कि again when I
See, let's understand the concept of this partition. You know, wherever the colonial setup has done partitions, it has been so blindly, so mindlessly, and I sometimes feel it is very intentionally done in a
so
way
that they
कि
could
वहाँ
keep
पे
the
conflict.
control. हाँ, conflict रहे और control रहे.
ये दोनों ही कंट्री कभी इतना इकोनॉमिकली स्ट्रांग ना हो पाए
हाँ.
कि वो. सो व्हेन यू लुक एट, हम अभी देख रहे हैं, ओके, इंडिया पाकिस्तान, this is the situation, but when we say the Southeast Asian region, वहाँ पे जब स्टेप करते हैं, वहाँ पे we still have a hold, we still have a say, okay, because we have other supporters, okay. पाकिस्तान जितना भी, पाकिस्तान also hard of heart notes कि यार इनके साथ हाथ मिलाना any time is better. I'm very sure they know this by now, but they just don't want to get in, because इतना bloodshed has happened on this partition thing that both the nations are still figuring out how it's a lifelong, कहते हैं ना, impact जो colonialism ने डाल के चले गए हैं. And let's be hopeful that situations, क्योंकि अभी जैसे हम internally अपने जो changes लाए हैं, this has caused lot of mindset change in us also. है ना? उनका जो पार्ट है, वो जो बदमाशी कर रहे हैं, it is one thing. How we are dealing ourselves, कि हम इससे इम्यून रहें, वो भी तो ज़रूरी है. And I think so enough is happening. We definitely, the terrorist activities have gone down compared to earlier. When trade enters, when businesses flourish, when people get opportunity, again it boils down to employment and all those things. Why will a 15-year-old child pick up a stone? फिर तो वो नहीं करेगा. Then it will start applying the moral science वहाँ पे, वो तब अप्लाई करना शुरू करेगा जब उसको वो opportunity.
But that intent has to come from both the parties, right?
Absolutely.
मतलब
Absolutely.
We have reached somewhere. I think they've gone. मुझे लगता है, I think there was a time when Pakistan was a stronger player compared to India. It had all the support of US for a very long time.
अब तो US ने भी हाथ छोड़ दिया है.
Now they have China, और China also manipulates. Ma'am, तो बहुत.
No, and they have faced a lot in the CPEC issue.
Oh, CPEC is dead now.
Yeah, so it's like sudden backlash here. Oh shit, how will we pay back the debt to?
Debt.
You know, so debt trap में तो वो फंस चुके हैं.
China का debt trap तो everybody knows कि how they are gradually capturing.
Yes, so that has already happened. So in time to come, we can see better cordial relations. Let's be hopeful of that. That's all we can do as citizens.
So again, there are a lot of people who have got. There is one opinion that says कि they are killing our soldiers. At the end, में मार ही रहे हैं, right?
मार ही रहे हैं.
They are killing, and at the end, I think soldier is as strong as a flag standing high, or as important as
because
nationalism.
that person will not withdraw.
हाँ, not withdraw, और वो मेरी nation की pride है. मुझे पता है, मैं यहाँ बैठा हूँ आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ, तो या आप लोगों ने वो काम किया है, या आपके पूरी टीम है, या जो आज जितनी भी हमारी तीनों फोर्सेस हैं वो बॉर्डर पे लगी हुई हैं, वो
Absolutely.
वो हट जाएं, वो अगर हमारी तरह अपना ईमान ऊपर नीचे करने लग जाएं या पैसे लेने लगे तो वी आर गॉन, वी आर गोइंग डाउन द ड्रेन्स. My question is, there is another set of people which is into liberal arts, which is again probably sitting out of tier 1 corporates, who talk about world without borders, who talk about creativity, art, which says कि यार हमारा Bollywood connect चालू होना चाहिए, we should have these events like अमन की आशा, एंड दैट माइट ब्रिंग पीस. सो माई क्वेश्चन इज, आपको लगता है कि एक तरफ जब मेरे यहाँ अटैक हो रहे हैं, मेरे मिलिट्री कैंप्स पे अटैक हो रहे हैं, माई सोल्जर्स आर बीइंग किल्ड, मतलब आप आके पूरे आपने उनका कॉन्वॉय उड़ा दिया, राइट? तो ये जो बाकी चीज़ें हैं पैरेलली चल सकती हैं, कैन वी बी सो, हम कहते हैं एक ह्यूमैनिटी होना चाहिए, बट ह्यूमैनिटी कहाँ और कितना होना चाहिए, दैट शुड ऑल्सो मेक सेंस.
Humanity ends when you see that your family, your children are being killed. Humanity ends there. जिस दिन जब तक इनके घरों में लोग होना भी नहीं चाहिए.
हाँ.
Nobody should go through the agonies of a war or a war-like situation or any conflict situation. You see any conflict zone, वहाँ के जो हालात हैं, उन हालातों को जब where you don't know you are going to be alive the next moment, do you really think उस समय कोई humanity देखेगा?
नहीं, कोई नहीं देखता वो ह्यूमैनिटी.
And I should say, as a nation, as a army of this great nation, as the force of this great nation, still we keep humanity as a priority. You see what US has done in Afghanistan. You see, आप कुछ नहीं करो, आप इन चीज़ों को बस study करो. Just see all the conflict zones. Now, all the conflict zones, UN is present. Tell me one conflict zone which have been where peace has been established. So the concept of peace becomes questionable there.
तो आपको लगता है ये कल्चरल टाइज और ये सब होने चाहिए जब बॉर्डर पे वो हमारे फौजियों को मारे?
See, why not? Let's try. कुछ वर्क कर गया तो कर गया, but not at the cost of our soldiers. Please don't do that. Because you are turning, ठीक है, you are talking of cultural ties, you are talking of अमन की आशा, but all these people, how many of them have even spoken one word for that soldier who has died there? If the day they speak, I'm ready to listen to them. And our troops will be ready to.
So there are people like Arundhati Roy.
Who doesn't want? Who wants death?
Nobody wants death.
Nobody wants. Yeah, everybody wants to live a peaceful life at their home, cooking food. अपना छोटा मोटा जिंदगी बढ़िया निकल जाए. That is what. As it is in India, we are not people with very high ambitions or very high lifestyle requirements. ये नहीं है. आम जनता को ये चीज़ नहीं चाहिए. Basic नहीं है. Why that soldier has to leave his family in somewhere in Tamil Nadu and go all the way at 18,000, 20,000 feet सियाचिन में क्यों वो अपने आप को करे? Why? And then it's very easy for you to talk peace and all without any consideration to that. That's the worst thing you have done. Now, where is your human right value there? Where is human right when our soldiers are dying? I want to know.
As a फौजी, it could be personal, I don't know. बुरा लगता है कि जब एक तरफ आपके टीममेट्स या आपके कोर्समेट्स या आपके बाद के जो सोल्जर्स आ रहे हैं वो शहीद हो रहे हैं, देन ऑन नेशनल टीवी देयर आर पीपल हु आर सेइंग कि नहीं यार क्रिकेट खेलो, तो क्या हो गया, नहीं यार प्रॉब्ली लेट्स हैव अ मूवी विद देम, लेट्स कॉल देयर स्टार्स. और फॉर दैट मैटर, एंड आई थिंक ये थोड़ा मैं एक लेवल डीप जा रहा हूँ, कि यूनिवर्सिटी में प्रोटेस्ट होते हैं to celebrate the martyrdom of the guy who was responsible for attack on the parliament, right? How does a soldier feel? क्योंकि ना मेरा ये पॉडकास्ट करने का मेन एजेंडा है कि दैट भैया फौजी एक ना वो शील्ड नहीं है जो बस दीवार की तरह खड़ा रहेगा, बुलेट लेते रहेगा, उसकी एक ह्यूमन लाइफ भी है. तो वो कैसा लगता है टू समबडी हु हैज वर्कड सो डीपली इन इंटेलिजेंस, जिसको पता है कि यार वो किस लेवल तक मॉरली करप्ट हैं वो लोग और किस लेवल तक जा सकते हैं.
You spoke of movies, you spoke of sports, we spoke like sacred cricketers, abhi jaise they had interaction and all those. Okay, in सबको हम बोल देते हैं, please go fight, have a interaction, brotherly interaction, everything. You have to pay money from your pockets. You won't get any money from
the government or the game or anything.
If that brings the same emotions or the same brotherhood, I'm okay to hug a Pakistani. But that's not going to happen. Okay, let's talk about now universities में जो ये होना है. When we were rebellious, we used to question social construct, but never to an extent that we will say यार किसने पार्लियामेंट में लोगों को मारा है, मैं उसको बोलूं कि भाई वो शहीद है. What nonsense is this? What kind of a society are we building? Okay, you want peace, my dear friend. उनको इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का ही आपको पासपोर्ट मिला है. Take a passport then from any other country you want to. Why you want to have an Indian passport?
But do you think anyone would ever go there?
Nobody will go there. In my tenure, I have met so many people from the other side also. You know, they keep visiting India for different medical reasons. बहुत लोग आते हैं क्योंकि पाकिस्तान में medical facilities इतनी अच्छी नहीं है.
नहीं है, I know that.
So यहाँ पे जो this chain, I am forgetting its name. They are the हाँ मेदांता का गवर्नमेंट का MOU है दोनों के, है ना? I have met this lady, old lady, who comes for her heart treatment here. So I just asked her that तो कैसा लग रहा है, आप कितने दिन के लिए आए हैं? तो she said बेटी 3 दिन के लिए आए हैं, बस 3 दिन और जी जाएंगे. इस चीज़ की तसल्ली है. This is the words of a common person there. It's very easy to do all this Indo-Pak friendship, नारेबाजी यहाँ यूनिवर्सिटी में, again adrenaline rush, very easy. As have you gone on ground, interacted with the people, have data points. Don't make assumptions and don't turn assumptions into mindsets and narratives. This is what we have
आपको लगता है unfortunately ये हो रहा है काफी ज़्यादा?
Yes, in the field of art I can see.
And that's not.
I know many of my poet friends. I write poetry. I know of many my poet friends who talk of all these liberal terms, which is easy to say, sitting somewhere in your comfortable studio apartment. Border पे जो बंदा है या सियाचिन में जो बैठा है, and उस पे भी somebody told my own mother ऐसी कुछ बात हुई तो she said कि how can you say that about our soldiers? So she said कि उनका तो काम है जाके border पे मरना. How can you say such things? Where is human right there? My question is, the day human rights or any of these liberal, if you are a liberal mindset, you should feel the pain of a dying soldier also, not just of a dying terrorist. This is the difference, and this is what I've been constantly saying. Matter of convenience. People are looking at my. मुझे इस चीज़ से ये अच्छा लगा, मैं इसको लूँगा. And what is that? That is radicalization. Selective usage of ideologies is radicalization. You see, most of the terrorists, आप देखना, आप उठा के उनके videos देखो. Most of them, these leaders of terrorist organization, they refer to only certain quotes of the Quran Sahib. Why? Quran Kareem की क्यों वो उतने ही कलमों को आप ले रहे हो? Read the whole book. It says so much more. That is where the difference lies.
And what do you think should start happening? Again, going back to the daily routine office, we have 10 things to talk about, right? Modi aaye, Rahul Gandhi aaye, koi na aaye, right? How important it is for modern day generation to start discussing topics which are of national importance, to discuss forces, right? आज ट्विटर पे बहुत लोग ट्वीट कर रहे हैं, है ना? वो कल तक ट्वीट शांत भी हो जाएगा.
I would say something which is contrary. I would say stop discussing. Do your work. आप एक कंपनी में एक पर्टिकुलर जॉब प्रोफाइल में आप गए हैं. Don't have an opinion on everything sitting there. You don't know what is at stake for the Prime Minister of this country. You don't know what is at stake for the Indian Army. You don't know what is at stake for the Navy, for the Air Force. आपको नहीं पता है strategic concepts. You should become first a good citizen. Fulfill fundamental rights तो आप बड़े जल्दी गिना देते हो.
ड्यूटीज कोई नहीं निभाना चाहता.
अरे 26 जनवरी को झंडा फहराना पड़ेगा. I was amazed. Somebody said that I said I'm going to this particular place for the event of 26 January. So they said, अरे 26 जनवरी को इतनी जल्दी कौन है? वो तो holiday है. Your national day is
Has
a
become a
holiday.
वो mindset आजकल आ गया है.
What are we talking about? Be a good citizen. Support by being a good citizen, doing your job fine, doing your things fine, being aware what is right and what is wrong. Misinformation है उसको मत spread करिए. Negative publicity is also publicity for the terrorists. ये समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है हमें. हम उनकी बुराई भी कर रहे हैं, उनको उससे फ़ायदा हो गया. आपके दिमाग में तो कीड़ा डाल ही दिया और उनकी भलाई कर रहे हैं तब तो. एंड डोंट हैव दैट ये इतना हार्मोनल वो मत रखो कि आपको हर चीज़ पे एक ओपिनियन देना है ट्विटर. एंड दैट्स व्हाट आई टोल्ड ना, दिस एनोनिमिटी और दिस मैटर ऑफ वो ना, अगेन ये भी कन्वीनियंस ही है कि यार मैं घर बैठे बैठे ट्वीट कर दूँ, मुझे कौन आके पकड़ने वाला है. बट लेट मी टेल यू, दिस वेरी थिंग हैज़ बीन proved wrong by the Assam government. When the whole CAA protests happened, सोशल मीडिया में जितने लोगों ने उल्टा सीधा किया है, they were all picked up by the police. At the end of the day, you are under the Indian Constitution. आपको freedom of speech and expression है, इसलिए आप बोल पा रहे हो.
But उसके साथ आपकी responsibility.
But that doesn't mean you end up having verbal diarrhea.
Yeah. You just
That's
can't
the
go
problem.
ranting and abusing.
I was in the army as an officer. Now I'm a veteran. I have stepped out. I need not have an opinion on everything. I need not know everything. Let's accept that fact, and let's start doing, instead of opinions, start doing action. कुछ नहीं, आपके घर के बाजू में वो फ्लाईओवर के नीचे जो बच्चे हैं उनको जाके पढ़ाना शुरू करो. Take those छोटा social responsibilities and you see how things will change. Change will only happen with actions, not with opinions. Had opinions worked, we don't need a prime minister.
Brilliant. I think this was the final, I think ये best closing statement मुझे मिला है आज तक. And I think all that you've said, ma'am, and all that you've done, अभी तो शायद we just know tip of the iceberg because you just can't share it.
Absolutely.
Right? But I can totally understand क्या क्या किया होगा, क्या क्या challenges आपने face किए
It's like
होंगे.
opening a Pandora's box.
हाँ.
वो चुप रहे तो ठीक है.
And soon maybe it's probably मुझे नहीं लगता हम ये एक single episode में पूरा कर रहा है. Probably I'll have to split this into 2 sessions, and maybe probably going forward we'll have lot more discussions because I am sure आपके पास बहुत सारा knowledge है. People don't know that you are also a Fit India ambassador. There is a lot of work that you are doing in the fitness, and I think fitness पे भी हम बात करेंगे. बट थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ऑल योर कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन. मेरी तरफ से हाथ जोड़ के नमस्ते और जय हिंद टू यू.
Thank you.
I wish we have more women who and men who look up to you.
Yes.
They join our forces. And
I mean, it's my good luck. It's the grace of God on me. If I could inspire one child and it could do well in life.
no, I think you've been doing that. So I hope you get to add more
Thank you.
people in your under your influence. And thank you so much, ma'am. Pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.